Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to go through a fairly new offering from Hongdian. This is the Hongdian M2 Mini. As you can see, it's fairly similar to the Kaweco ALs. So I'm going to discuss this pen and talk about some of the improvements that I think it made over the Kaweco. I bought this pen on eBay from Buy. It's only $22, fairly inexpensive. Compared to the Kaweco, they are very similar in size. So I'll talk about some of the size comparisons with the Kaweco AL. This version is the Kaweco AL Collection in Iguana Blue. And beside it is the Hongdian M2. So capped, the Kaweco is 105.6 millimeters. And the Hongdian is just a tad bit shorter at 104.9. And I'll put all of these on the screen at some point. The bodies are pretty much the same in size. They're both 100 millimeters in length. The cap on the Hongdian is quite a bit, well, not that much, but a little bit longer. The Hongdian cap is 75 millimeters and the Kaweco cap is a little bit shorter at 129 millimeters. The sections are a little bit different. For the Hongdian, the section is quite a bit longer, and it does flute out here a little bit. But they're both pretty small sections. The Kaweco section is 9.5 to 9.7 millimeters in diameter. The Hongdian is 9.3 to 9.8 millimeters in diameter. So very little difference there as far as diameter. The weight of the Kaweco is 23.1 grams and the Hongdian is 24.5. The increase in weight of the Hongdian may be due to the converter that's in there. This is inked with a cartridge. So let me show you some of the body of the Hongdian. So there's the top finial. There's a little design there. End finial, nothing much to that. It does come included with a built-in clip. And it's a very nice springy, very usable clip. And it unscrews just like the Kaweco. And it posts very nicely. Very similar to the Kaweco. But another improvement is that it came with this converter, and it does have an O-ring down there. But this converter, although it's small, does seem to have a very nice capacity compared to the Kaweco converter. I don't think this one has. I'm not sure what this was inked with. No, they both have cartridges in them. I do have a Kaweco converter line around here somewhere. But for these, they're both inked with the included cartridges. Also with the Kawecos, some of them come with clips, but for the most part, you do have to buy the clips separately. So this is one plus. Another plus is that the clip comes with it. Very nondescript, just has Hongdian M2 right there. Very minimalist in design. I love the way it looks. I also love the way these look as well. So I'll show you how they compare in the Kaweco nib log. So for the Hongdian M2, we just have a Hongdian M2 Mini. It's a fine. It's inked with Diamond Polystar Ink Fit 2022. And this nib is quite a bit softer than the Kaweco. I noticed that Hongdian's nibs, I think from mid to late 2023, they started having some softer nibs on their pens. And this is one of those. This pen is, the nib is pretty soft. And again, this was $22 on eBay. And you can see some of the flex that it does have there. So compared to the Kaweco, they probably look pretty similar. Again, 5. And as far as line width, I said they both are 0.35 millimeters. So that's a Kaweco included cartridge. Very firm nib, no line weight variation. And again, it's about the same, 0.35. So I'm going to write with these. Again, this is ink with Diamond Inkvent 2022 Upon a Star. So this does have quite a bit of shimmer in it. And this does want a hard start occasionally, likely because of the shimmer. So, Hongdian M2 Mini. This is a fine steel. Diamond Upon a Star. Inkvent 2022. Can't push it too hard or it wants to railroad, but it does have a very nice bounce to it. And it writes pretty good in reverse, a little scratchy. As far as the feeling of this pen, it's pretty smooth, has a little bit of a tooth to it, but it's pretty nice. Right away, it felt nice. So that's how it looks. You can see the shimmer there, hopefully. So I'm gonna draw some lines here so I can compare it to the Kaweco, and no pressure. So some pressure from the Kaweco, then no pressure. So they're pretty similar, except for you see just a little bit more thickness with the Hongdian because of the softness of the nib. So this is the Kaweco AL collection. And I would say that these two pens have, I would say, an equal amount of tooth, but they do feel very different as far as the writing experience. I would say one outperforms the other. They just feel different. So the ink in here is the included cartridge, and it's blue. Wetness of this one, it's just I would say a tad bit wetter. So before I go on, I will show you some of my French transcriptions using the Hongdian. So I started out using my right hand, but I did something to my thumb, so I had to switch over. So most of this was written with my left hand, and I found it to be very comfortable, but there's a little slipperiness to this section, just like the Kaweco. There's some slipperiness, and it's a little thin as far as the section. So if you're prone to cramping, or if you have any issues with your fingers, these pens may not be ideal. Although they're light, I think the grip on them is just not super comfortable. But for the most part, I didn't have any issues with my left hand. I am able to write quite a bit better today with my right hand. So as far as some of the pros and cons of this pen, I think it's a smooth nib. The hard starting is definitely due to, I would say, this ink, more so than any issues with the nib. It does have this nice springy clip, and it does feel very solid. very solid. Both of these feel very solidly built. It does pose nicely. I think it's an attractive pen. All the threads are smooth. There's no catching or anything. And although it does hard start a little bit, I think it's handling the shimmer pretty well. And again, some improvements of the Kaweco. This Kaweco collection was $88, which is a little pricey, but it's made in Germany, and it's definitely built like a tank. But this makes some improvements in that, again, it has this nice clip, and that you don't have to worry about ordering separately, and it does come with a nice converter. So for the most part, you know, I would recommend this pen. I think Hongdian, their QC as far as their nibs, I think I'm comfortable with recommending. Some Chinese pens I'm not so comfortable with recommending, but I think I have enough experience with Hongdians that when I get a good one, I'm pretty sure that most of them are good as well. I've had pretty good luck with Hongdians. The Kaweco collection, I mean, still an excellent pen. This is the Aurora. This is an AL Sports. And Aurora, this is a medium. This is also inked with the included cartridge. This is an AL Sport and Aurora. Very smooth nib. This is a medium. And the ink is black cartridge. I think for some reason the Kawecos feel just a tad bit more comfortable in the hand. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the shortness of the section. I'm not sure. But I don't find these to be as, I don't know, as slippery. Although the material seems very much the same. I just find it a little bit harder to get a good grip on this pen for some reason. Maybe because I'm holding it down here, whereas I can use the threads to grip onto with this one. Because the section is so much longer on the Hongdian, I think I'm holding the Kaweco. I'm using the threads as a grip. So that may have something to do with it. Maybe I just need to hold the Hongdian higher. I was using the Aurora. But the Aurora does have a little bit of bounce in the nib in this medium, but not much. Doesn't work in reverse, but that's okay. So those are my thoughts on the Hongdian M2. I think this is a good and expensive offering. This Kaweco collection is 4 times the price of this. This is $22 and this is $88. And if I'm not mistaken, this one was maybe $100. If I'm incorrect, I'll put that on the screen. But I think this was even more than this one. But I think the Hongdian is different enough that I won't call it a copycat. But it does take quite a bit of inspiration from the Kawecos, no doubt, but it's not a straight copy. And again, I do think it made some improvements over the Kaweco, and it's definitely, I think, a good bang for the buck. So that's pretty much all I had to say about the Kaweco. I will show you some up close shots. So that's it. Move this out of the way so it'll focus. You do see a little ink down here on the section. There's the feet. I'm sorry, the nib. Focus. There's the feet. Really nothing much down there. Again, the Hongdian M2 is on the side there. My camera doesn't want to focus. Top finial. And again, the converter. And all of these threads, just like the Kaweco, they all feel pretty smooth and well done. Nothing's catching. So that's pretty much all I have for the Hongdian M2. I highly recommend it if you're interested in this. But until next time, everyone, take care. Thank you.